Oh, okay. I'm gonna turn off my captions. And we are recording. So thank you so much. Welcome, DSU Hornets. Welcome, Absolute Internship. We truly appreciate you joining us today. My name is Miss Danielle Craig. I am the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Research, Experiential Learning, and Honors here at DSU, located in the library. If you guys haven't come and seen me, stop by, second floor, room 200. Here to help you guys with all things undergraduate research, experiential learning, and also the honors program. So today I'm super excited to have Sarah and Anna here from Absolute Internship. They're going to be telling us all about opportunities, international opportunities for you guys to be able to look into and apply to for your internships coming up in this, I believe, summer 2022. So I'm going to hand it over. Anna, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you so much, Danielle, and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm not actually sure if you can see me, but I can't see any of you. So I just have my screen with the presentation. You can?
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
It's a little box, but we can see you.
Okay, so we have international internship opportunities for you today. We're going to give you some advice on networking and interview tips as well. So we're going to try and really give you some value alongside all the opportunities we have available. So a little bit about us. I'll start. My name is Anna Sheridan. I'm part of the marketing team at Absolute Internship. I'm actually a student myself. I go to the University of Birmingham. I'm based in the UK, and I study international business with Spanish. So all things international, which is why I'm the perfect fit for the Absolute Internship team. So yeah, I'm going to be guiding you through some of the opportunities we have, telling you more about Absolute Internship, and then we have Sarah, who will tell you more about her own experience with the program. So you can just go ahead and introduce yourself, Sarah.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Sarah Flush. So I was actually a past intern for Absolute this July. I went to Barcelona for 8 weeks, which was really awesome. I am a recent graduate from UCI, major, and so Absolute asked me to come back and be an ambassador, and that's why I'm here.
Great, thank you. So what's on the agenda for today? I'm going to inform you about why I think you guys should all consider an internship abroad. We're going to talk a bit about Absolute Internship and what we do. I'm going to give you some interview tips as well. Sarah's going to tell you about going abroad and her own ambassador experience, and then I'll tell you about some of our alumni stories, and then we'll leave a hefty amount of time to the Q&A because that's always the most interesting bit, hearing what you guys want to ask. So yeah, that's what's on our agenda for today. So firstly, I'm going to start by telling you guys about international internships and why they can be a great opportunity for you. So with an international internship, you really make your profile stand out. Nowadays, it's not enough to have good grades. You need to have some sort of work experience, and doing that internationally is even more impressive. It shows that you're really adaptable to change, you're willing to push yourself out of your comfort zone and go and try something new. And also, it's a great experience for you as a person to develop personally as well as developing professionally at the same time. Here's a very interesting stat that we found. So 97% of graduates with international experience find a job within 12 months of graduating, compared to only 49% of the general graduate population. So it's almost double the amount of graduates who are successful in finding a job with this international experience. So that's proof there that being international and going abroad can be a great way to open some more doors for you when you graduate. It's also an opportunity for you to hone in on your cross-cultural business skills. You know, most businesses these days are multinational. You'll be working with people from loads of different backgrounds, whether that be in your team or clients that you may be working with. So knowing how to deal with different cultures in the workplace is a really important skill to have. And doing this short experience during summer can be a great way to start learning about this and really showing future employers that it's something you can prove that you know how to do. So, Absolute Internship, we were founded in 2009 and we have since hosted more than 5,000 interns on our programs. And these interns have come from more than 53 different nationalities. We're a really, really international focused company. We work with more than 800 companies worldwide, and we offer internships in more than 30 different industries. So we really focus on providing something for everyone in any location, in any industry. So we want it to be as accessible as possible for all of you. So why Absolute Internship? So the most important thing that we can provide you is a guaranteed internship placement. As it says, there's no second or third choice. We match you with a company in the industry of your choice. So if you say to us, I really want to go on a marketing internship, we will guarantee that we will find you a marketing internship. There's no, well, maybe not, you know, it's a guarantee, and it's a really safe bet for finding an internship, because it can be really, really tricky to do it on your own. We have our Absolute Tribe. Sarah's part of it as one of our alumni. So our team's intern or studied abroad, and we all know what makes unforgettable experiences. That's why we're so passionate about sharing these with you guys. And projects that provide value. We work on meaningful tasks to help companies reaching their goals. We work alongside companies and alongside students to help find the perfect match between both of you. So we really care about, we don't just throw you in any random placement. We like to find a good match where we know that everybody is well suited and everybody will be happy. So here are the locations that we have available for summer 2022. As you can see, they're across Europe and across Asia. So really good for US students who want to travel abroad, maybe go a bit further than they've been before. Just to point out a few of my favorite cities on that list, you have Barcelona, Paris, and Tokyo would be my top 3 from that list. Obviously, everyone's different, but they're my top 3 personally that I'd love to go to. And here are the available industries. So this is just a quick scanning process. Have a look there, see if you can find something you're interested in. They are generally more generic industries, and within them you can tell us if you like to specify something more specific, and we can see what we do. But this is the main ones that are very generic, so there should be something there that calls your name. I hope there is anyway. So we have 2 different types of program. We have the on-site program and also the remote program, which was launched in 2020 due to COVID restrictions. Firstly, I'll speak a bit about the on-site in-person programs, because that does tend to be the thing that most people are interested in now that things are opening up. You can travel, you can experience some amazing things abroad now that we're a bit more free in what we can do and where we can go. So our on-site programs run throughout the summer. They run from 4 to 12 weeks, depending on your availability and what you prefer. So they start in the beginning of June, beginning of July, and beginning of August, depending on the duration of your internship. And included in this program is an internship placement in the industry of your choice. We include all of the onboarding you'll need, so getting you ready to make the move to a different area of the world can be quite daunting. We support you through all of it. We have onboarding, we have welcome events, we have everything you need to make sure you feel really settled and welcome in your new home for the next however long you're there. We also provide your accommodation, so you'll be living with all of the other interns who are on the same program as you. So you create a real sort of family feel. You make some amazing friends, and I'm sure Sarah will mention more about that later on as someone who's done it herself. Also included is things like public transport cards. I'm not really sure what they're called in America, but for example, if any of you have been to London, it's like the equivalent of an Oyster card. So just what you need to get around the city, basically. We provide that for you. And also things like SIM cards for your phone that maybe you might not think of yourself or might not know how to do. We try and cover all bases, so it's a really smooth transition into your new living situation for the next few months. And another really important thing that we include is emergency and on-site support 24/7. So we have a designated member of our team will be in that location with you throughout the duration of your stay. They'll stay in the same accommodation as you. There's always someone there for something small or something big. If you're feeling a bit homesick, if you want someone to talk to, or even something big, like there's always someone there and ready to help and on hand to be there as your sort of lifeline, if you like. If you're worried about anything, there's always someone. And also visa support. So being from the US, it's hard sometimes to get visas to go to Asia, for example. It can be a tricky process, so we help you secure all of the visa requirements you need, make sure you have all your documents in order, submit the application for you. So we really make it easy for you to go abroad, and we have a designated team who will work on your visa with you. And here's just some of the inclusions I was mentioning. So we have professional development events like career development workshops, career speakers, company visits, so you can go and see like different offices in the location you're in, and also day and weekend trips. So for example, in Barcelona this summer, we took them to Madrid for the weekend, just to, you know, see the capital city, see what it's all about. And so it's a really full travel and intern abroad program. We really focus on making it a fun experience for you. It's not just about the internship. And also their cultural activities, so you learn about traditions and food in your location. And then quickly about the remote internship program, because it's not as popular now that things are opening up. So with the remote program, we offer you the internship placement in the industry or city of your choice. Included in this program is things like an online orientation, language courses, you have check-ins with supervisors and with people from the Absolute team. You have networking opportunities and cultural assessments. So we do still try and make it as international as possible whilst being in your home. So Absolute Academy is the e-learning platform that we use for all of these remote experiences. It includes courses about cultures and soft skills, professional growth, all of those things. And as I mentioned, we have check-ins with you just to make sure that how you're getting on, like make sure you're not feeling lonely, and try and really integrate you into the team. And also you have the opportunity to listen to career speakers as well, just as you would if you were in person, but obviously online, as we've all got very much used to the last few years. So now a little bit of value for you. I'm going to tell you some of my top interview tips. This is nothing to do with Absolute. I just thought it would be quite fun to break the session up with a bit of advice for you, basically. So some interview tips. I'm not sure if you've been told about the STAR method, and it might be completely, you know, overused for you, but for me, there's nothing better than using the STAR method in an interview. So it's situation, task, action, result. And using these 4 steps are a really great way to ensure that you are answering an interview question fully and in depth. So situation, you like to set the scene and give a necessary detail of your example. Then the task, you describe what your responsibility was in the situation. Then the action explains exactly what steps you took to address it. And the result, share what outcomes your action achieved. So just to give you a quick example, the question could be, there's an example there. Tell me about a time when you showed initiative. And you could set the scene and say, you know, one time I was doing this group project at university and we weren't really getting anywhere. The deadline was coming up. So that's you setting the situation. And then the task, you could say what your responsibility was. You could say, you know, I was designated the team leader. I needed to try and think of something to do to make us complete this task on time. It was really stressful. And then your action, you could say, I took the initiative and set up a group meeting. I then set out our timeline doing this, this, and this, so to make sure we were all organised and all on the same page. And then the result, share what outcomes you achieved by saying, in the end, we got a in this project because I managed to keep the whole team together and organised. So that's just a quick example of how you can answer an interview question if you get stuck and you want to make sure that you're answering it really fully. These are my top tips as well, apart from using the STAR method, is to be yourself. Interviewers really appreciate that it can be nerve-wracking. Don't read from a script, as it says. I know with virtual interviews, especially, it can be tempting to, you know, have a piece of paper here just in case you forget, but try not to do that. People love authenticity and they really are hiring you for you. So just be yourself and try and relax. Always do research beforehand. Make sure you know what the company does, because that's really important. You don't want to turn up and be like, oh, what does your company do again? So yeah, make sure you research the company beforehand and also what your role might entail so you can have some good questions ready. Try and maintain some eye contact. I know it's really difficult on Zoom. It feels like you're just staring at the camera, but it is important even online as much as it is in person. And then, as I mentioned, make sure you have questions prepared, they will probably answer most of them. So this is what I found during my interview process, was that I came prepared with like, say 5 questions, general questions, and then in the interview they'd answered all of them just by telling me about the job, telling me about the company, and I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't got any left. So make sure you come with loads and loads of questions, just so you have something, even if they're a really, really good interviewer and they tell you everything you need to know. And here are some ideas. I mean, I think we're sharing the recording after this, so you can always come back to this, so don't worry about writing these down. But here are just a few question ideas that I came up with that are a bit different to your generic questions. So asking about the structure of the team can be really important. It will help you understand who you're going to be working with and how many of you there'll be. For example, you might want to work in a bigger team, and if they say, oh, it'll just be me and you, that'll be it. And maybe that's not for you. So it's good to find out. And then, can you describe a typical day in the life of someone in my role? Again, really important to understand what it is exactly you'll be doing. Another good one, a little tip, is to look them up on LinkedIn and see if they've been here for been at the company for really long or really short. I noticed you've been here for X amount of years. What made you stay so long? So that's a good one if they've been there for ages. And if they're quite new to the company, you can say, I notice you're new. What's your favorite thing so far? And it gives that little personal touch, just so it shows them that, you know your stuff and you've been looking them up and you know what you're talking about. And also a really important one is to ask what are the next steps in the process, so that you can really understand what will happen next. It's not just going to be radio silence and then you're wondering, what is happening next? Like, how long do I have to wait until I can send them another email? So yeah, if they outline the next steps for you and they say, oh, we should get back to you within a week, then if it's been 2 weeks, you can definitely send an email. Okay, so that was my first little snippet. We're going to switch it up now and have Sarah present to you a little bit about her advice for your time abroad. So Sarah, take it away.
Alrighty. So, yeah, I'm unmuted. So yeah, preparing is definitely really important. I noticed when I went there, like Absolute sets it up pretty much for you, which is really nice. They have this whole checklist that you can go through, which is really nice. So you set up your flights, make sure that your passports are 6 months before they expire and everything, and have all your IDs. Like I photocopied everything just in case you lose stuff, because if you lose something, your embassy will require like all the numbers and everything. So you just want to make sure you have everything ready. You never know. And then visas, luckily for Spain, you actually didn't need a visa, but just make sure you know if you need one or not. And then a packing list. I definitely noticed going there, I was gonna have 1 bag and that was it. But my dad was like, no, like you need 2. So luckily I brought 2 bags, because when you're there, you're just gonna buy so many things, whether that's for yourself or for other people. There's just so many things, you never know. So just always be prepared for that. And then also researching where you're going. Knowing what kind of activities you want to do outside of your internship was really helpful for me. And having a list ready. And then once I made friends within the company, we all like compared things we wanted to do. And then like I was able to go swimming with sharks, which was really awesome. So just knowing what's in your area can be very helpful. So for health and safety, when we went this July, it was kind of on the border of still being on lockdown, but not. Like we were allowed to go out with masks and everything, but there was a curfew that Spain's government had placed. It wasn't too bad because it was like 1 a.m. I think it was. And so we had work and everything, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But staying within the Absolute bubble was really helpful, that you could feel safe and still do amazing activities at the same time. Always follow COVID rules, obviously. And stay aware of all your surroundings, especially in big cities like in Barcelona. They talk about pickpocketing and things like that. And obviously that's a problem in most large cities, but just to be aware of your surroundings and always have contact with everyone within the company. Like we had so many different WhatsApp group chats just in case you needed help finding something, or if you needed recommendations for food. It's just like a good thing to have. And homesickness, I honestly thought that I wouldn't get homesick. I've never been that type of person. But 4 weeks in, I was like, I want to go home. I want a bean and rice burrito. Like, I want comfort food. I want to see my animals. You feel that at some point. I mean, everyone's different, of course. But so I found it helpful to actually let myself be homesick. At first, I was like, no, like, I'm not homesick. I'm in a cool place. Why am I feeling this way? Like, everyone's so jealous or happy that I'm in Spain right now. So just letting yourself feel that way is a good thing. And keeping busy also helps. Me and my friends, we did something pretty much every day. I'd say we had 2 or 3 rest days the whole 8 weeks we were there. It's just you want to see everything, and keeping that consistency is really helpful of not thinking about home and keeping in touch with people. I mean, obviously we all have sort of way of contacting your family. Like, I had weekly talks with my family and my friends, which was really nice. And also talking about it with the rest of the people in the program. Like, we would trade stories of like, oh, when you get home, what's the first meal you're going to eat? Where's the first activity you're going to do? And so talking about it with all the people within the company also helps as well.
Great, thank you. Love those tips. I'm going to now give you some examples of previous internships that we've had. So these just are things that other interns have done in some different industries, so you can have a little taste. I'm not going to read everything out because, you know, you guys can read. I'll let you read it yourself. But for example, this one is a fashion marketing public relations sort of industry in Paris, which is just a dream. Imagine you're basically, I don't know if you've seen the show, but Emily in Paris is what I'm picturing right now when I read this. So to go through some of the tasks that they did, they were contacting shops, they were contacting the press and the media, doing some digital marketing, newsletter creations, a bit of SEO, which stands for search engine optimization, very technical marketing term, and also doing some community management, so, you know, doing social media and things like that. So that's the first one. Oh, there it is. I thought it wasn't going to come then. And then business development obviously is a bit more generic. This one was in Singapore, I believe. And they were doing things like qualifying leads from marketing campaigns, contacting clients, presentations, identifying clients and suggesting the products and services they should use, setting up meetings and calls, and reporting to account executives on weekly sales results. So what I'm trying to get across with these examples is that you do have some seriously important responsibility in these internships. They're not going to be, you know, the stereotype of like the intern gets the coffee. Like, no, it's not going to be like that. We make sure that you will have responsibility and you will learn a lot. I heard Danielle mentioning there was some biology related majors going on, so maybe this would be interesting for you. Biotech engineering, things like clinical trials, data management, admin, business development support, loads of different wide ranging things within a biotech engineering company. And now we go back to Sarah to tell us about her experience on her internship, what she did. Well, obviously you guys know she was in Barcelona, but how she found it and everything. So we're going to get a real insight into what your own experience could be like.
Okay, so just like Anna said, like, honestly, when I was going into this, when they were like, oh yeah, you'll get like real tasks and be actually within a team. And so I was like, right, like, sure, I'm sure. And then once I got there, I actually was put on, I mentioned I was an aerospace engineering major, but I went into a company called Skilled Robotics. And so this company uses sensors on robots, sends them out to a building and make sure that it can be checked periodically. And that way you won't have to build a whole building and then check if everything is correct, which is how they did it in the past, which I actually had no idea that existed. So being within that company, I was able to actually work on that robot that they send out. I was able to look at their sensor rig, and I was redesigning how they were setting it up because they changed something within the angles of the sensors. But yeah, so an average day, my contract was 9 to 6 with an hour lunch, but that depends on what your company sets out for you. My company was really open to changing it if I ever needed to. So I think most companies are pretty laid back and you can talk to them about it. But so that was mine. I had weekly meetings with the robotics team, which was really awesome. So I got to hear things that I wasn't like directly influencing, but that what they were doing within the robot itself. Updates, I had a Slack channel with both the entire company, which was really cool, like the CEO and everything. I actually got to directly talk to them, which was pretty awesome. And just for the robotics team. And so I could send them updates. They asked me for updates, things like that, if I had to work from the residency. Because of COVID, like sometimes I worked at the residency rather than the office, but I went back and forth. And so having updates was really nice. I mainly worked on SolidWorks drawings, which is like a digital drawing thing for parts and everything. And so that really helped me hone my skills that I've been learning for 4 years. And just actually putting that into a real world situation was really awesome. I also did research on a other robot that they had that's been sitting around for 3 years or something. And they're like, oh, can you see how this fits together? And I was like, sure. So I was working on that for the second half of my internship. I had probably 4 presentations in total. It was really scary at first, but after a while you get used to it and it's just like you know what you have to do and you do your job. And then oh yeah, the cultural trips. Some days during the week we'd set up things, or Absolute would have things set up. Like we did a business or company tour for Glovo, which is kind of like DoorDash or Postmates, something like that. And so that was really awesome. It had nothing to do with what I want to do, but seeing a company like that was really awesome. And just things like how Anna mentioned, we went to Madrid. Oh yeah, so the trips. So like there were 2 day trips, which were Girona and Tarragona. And so those were just on Sundays. And we went Absolute set up the whole thing with a bus. We got to the destination. And we were able to have a bit of free time. We usually had a lunch all together, which was really nice. And then we went on a sightseeing / cultural tour, which was really cool. And our guides were always really nice and just knew all these tiny facts that you'd never find like on the internet or anything. And so that was really cool. And they'd give you food recommendations, which was awesome as well. And then for the weekend trips, that was Madrid and Costa Brava. And those were just a dream. So Absolute set up the hotel room. We usually had a lunch again all together, and then again the sightseeing and things. But then those had more free time. And so in Madrid, my friends and I, we went to a flamenco show, which was really cool. It was in this like underground building. And so it's just nothing I ever experienced. And then Costa Brava, we were able to go kayaking and cliff jumping. And so it's just it's the perfect combination of interning and adventure. And I think it's just really awesome that you're all interested in it.
Yay, thank you, Sarah. I love hearing about the trips from someone who's done it because I haven't done it myself, so very exciting. And then the last point I wanted to make was about funding opportunities. So these programs have fees which cover all the inclusions, which I've said before. Every attendee here today can get $100 off the program fee if they use the code Sarah Fluch, which is just Sarah's name. And we also have internal funding available, which is exclusively for diverse students. You can find the specific eligibility criteria on our website, which is part of our new initiative, the Diverse Community Fund, which is trying to make our programs more accessible for diverse students. So yeah, if anybody wants to take note of that code, it's probably a good idea, Sarah Fluch, and I can also send it in the chat as well when we're done. So that was, I think, good timing. I wanted to spend half the session presenting and half of it leave the floor to you guys, answering any questions you have, because I know that there's probably quite a few questions directed to both me and to Sarah. There's some QR codes there if you want to check out our socials. We have a lot of alumni stories on there as well if you want to see more about what our alumni have done. And if you have any specific questions or you think of something later on, my email is also there. It's anna@absoluteinternship.com. I'm actually going to stop sharing the screen now so I can come back and see the chat and everything. But yeah, I will put the email and the discount code into the chat for all of you. How do I stop sharing my screen? That's a good question. I think I did it.
Yes, we don't see your screen anymore.
I'm back.
Okay, so we don't have any questions in the chat, but I'm sure someone has some questions out there. So feel free to unmute yourself and state your question or type your questions in the chat for Anna and for Sarah.
Yes, please, guys, you can unmute. We're not scary. You can ask us anything, even if it's not related with the internship programs. If you just want to know about anything like job related, interviews, anything you want to ask us, we're ready. I see a question. What's the minimum GPA for a biotech? My current isn't the best, but I have lab experience. So we don't actually have a minimum GPA or grade requirement. You can apply no matter what your GPA is. We also don't require any work experience, so it's a great way to get your foot in the door and have this as your first proper experience. Yeah, we don't worry about your grades. It's completely open to everyone who wants to apply.
So I'll ask a question, and I guess this would be to Sarah directly. What was your experience with the interview application process? Like, was it long and drawn out? Did it take, a semester to go through? How did you prepare? Anything like that?
Yeah, okay, so the initial application is actually to Absolute directly. And so that I kind of just applied on a whim. It was my summer before my senior year of college. And so I was like, I need some sort of experience at some point. So, and I found this and I really wanted to go abroad. And so I was like, okay. And so that application is really straightforward. It's just basic information. I think I put my resume, but I don't even think that it was required at that point. And so I sent that off, and I'm pretty sure it was maybe like 1 or 2 days later that Absolute contacted me. And so then they set up an interview for themselves, and that's around 20 minutes, I think it was. And so I was very terrified for that, honestly. But it was really, like, my interviewer was really sweet, and it was very laid back. And that part of the interview is just to see where your head's at, and really how to get the experience geared towards yourself. And so then I was telling them, like, oh, I'd really like to, okay, so during the interview, I think my main advice would just to be very passionate about why you want to go to the location that you've chosen, and the industry that you want to be within. I think when I showed that's what really pushed me towards getting accepted. Because beforehand, I had zero experience, pretty much. I did a couple like day things, but those honestly don't count that much. Now that I'm applying jobs right now, this experience has really been the top thing that's gotten me contact with other people. And so yeah, so during the interview, just be very enthusiastic and passionate, and I think that is something that Absolute really looks for. And then after that point, since I applied a year before going into Absolute, it actually took a while before I interviewed with the companies that, well, I only interviewed with one, but I'm pretty sure you can interview with multiple. It just really depends on the situation. So that took, I think I interviewed with my company a few weeks before I left. So it was a big gap between my initial application and that. But I think that's just because interviewing with your company should be closer towards the day you leave. I'm not sure if there's like a, yeah. So, and then for that interview, I researched the company because I had never heard of scaled robotics in my entire life. So I was like, oh gosh, because Absolute tells you beforehand who's your interviewer and the company that you're with. And then my coordinator, I think you would call her, she was actually really nice. She gave me a few tips on what things from school that I should pay attention to. And so I scoured out my old notes and looked through those too, just for in case I was asked a question, in which I was like, he asked me a technical question about planes. And so I was prepared for that. But so for that general interview, I researched my interviewer, which was the CTO of the company. And so I just used LinkedIn. That was the easiest thing. And then I actually found a connection. He was an aerospace engineer beforehand. So I was like, I'm an aerospace engineer. So, you know, you have that, like, you have something in common. Yeah. And then I also looked at the company website and saw what they were all about. And so that way I listed out a bunch of questions that I had and something that I liked that they did, because he asked me like, oh, like, why would you want to work for us? And so I really like that they were geared towards sustainability and mitigating loss in time, money, and resources. And so that was really important to me. And so that's kind of the process. And then after that, I think it was probably the next day that they said that they'd like to work with me. And so I signed the contract. And then, yeah, so that was kind of the timeline. I think it really depends on you and the situation, but that was mine.
Yeah, I can add a bit there. So in terms of the timeline from when you're accepted into the program and then when you have an interview with the company, it really depends how in advance you apply. So the benefits of applying in advance, which is what I would advise all of you to do, like Sarah did, is that you will get a much better opportunity in your internship. You will get something much more personalized to you. I mean, by the sounds of it, Sarah's internship was amazing. That's probably because she applied a year in advance. So we had loads of time to find something that we knew would be really suitable for her. If you apply like 2 months before, it might be a bit of a scramble, and you might end up with something that maybe is not the like your number one top thing you'd like to do. So I'd really recommend applying in advance. It does mean, like Sarah, you'll probably have a bit of a wait between when you are accepted and when you interview with your company, but it's nothing to worry about. As Sarah said, it's more common to interview with your host company a few weeks or a month in advance. I don't want to interview with someone 8 months in advance and then be like, oh wait, who are we having again? I've forgotten her name. Like, they want it to be like about a month before you go, is probably the average timeline that we have.
Okay, thank you so much. That was very insightful.
Quite.
I think there was a question in the chat from Tehran. He asked about online internships available in biotech.
Yeah, we have, so all of the industries that we have available for in-person are also available remote. So yeah, don't need to worry about that. And I see this a question about advice during an interview. Sarah gave you some advice for the Absolute interview, and then from me, just in general interviews, job interviews, whatever you're interviewing for, as well as being passionate. My top one, which I've already said, but is be yourself. It's so important. You don't want to give off some facade of being this really technical person and then you turn up and then you have to try and keep up for 2 months. So just be yourself. They're hiring you for you. They're not hiring you because you're pretending to be someone else. So yeah, definitely that's my top tip for an interview. Be yourself and be prepared as well. I don't see any more questions. Oh, there's one. Which industry would be suggested for a social work major? Wow, that's a really broad, you could do anything with that. I mean, we don't have any specific industries for social work, but maybe if you care about, helping people, helping in general is a very broad term to use, but we have non-profit internships. which could be a good match for you if you want to go along that line. Non-profit internships is a really good opportunity for you. We work with loads of different charities, and they include things like one we did was for homelessness in Barcelona. We did one for an ocean sustainability company, charity even. So yeah, maybe non-profit would be a good fit for you. It just depends on the experience that you want. Whereas the diversity scholarship, I'm a German journalism major. That's great. I will send you the link in the chat now. I'm sorry, I just need to find it quickly. Yeah, we just launched our diverse community fund, and we're really excited to start seeing some applications for it. So definitely look into that if it's something you're interested in. Just need to find the right page. Oh, I'll find that link and send it to you in a minute. Let me just answer this other one. Do we cover the business industry? Yes, absolutely. That's one of our biggest industries. We have loads of different ones related to business. So we have business development, marketing, PR, accounting, if you can call that related to business, which I think you can, logistics, supply chain. So yeah, where can I apply for biotech applications? Yeah, I'll send you guys all actually the application form. So it's there and ready to go. And I'll also send you the code that you should use if you want a discount. That's the application form there. And this is the code. There you go. Let me just have a quick dig for the diversity scholarship page. I can't seem to find it, but Sarah, if any questions pop up, feel free to just jump in and ask them.
Alrighty. And well, actually, going back to the social work question, I actually met a few people that were doing the nonprofit while I was in Barcelona, and it was really cool because the rest of the interns could actually help them as well. And so I actually got a little bit of an insight of one of my friends that I made there was for a nonprofit for, I'm pretty sure it was homeless teens, which was really awesome to be a part of. So we were able to donate. And she actually asked if any of us had time to stand outside of a grocery store and ask for donations from Barcelonians, I guess you could call them. So it was really cool to be a part of that as well, which had nothing to do with my internship, but I mean, who doesn't want to help other people? And then, do you know if getting paid for an internship or does it depend on the company? So I don't know if okay, so I'll answer from what I was. None of the people that I met or myself were paid. I think most of them are unpaid internships, right?
Yeah, so the reason that they have to be, unfortunately, unpaid, we'd love for you guys to be paid, but it's generally because of the visa specifications. Traveling to another country, if you get paid for your work, you would then need to get a work visa, and to get this work visa, you have to pay a lot of money. So actually, it would work out if you did want to be paid, you'd have to pay, if that makes sense. So in terms of why it's unpaid, that is the main reason, because you'd actually end up paying more to get a visa than you would be getting paid. But also because it is more of a work-based learning opportunity rather than a job. You should try and view this time abroad as a learning experience and something that will help you in the future to find a job rather than a job. And also that's why they're a short period of time, because we know it's not sustainable to live without being paid. But yeah, that's why we choose the shorter durations for the internships. Do we cover travel charges? So included in the program fee is your transportation card to get around the city. For example, on the trips, like when you go to Madrid, that's paid for in advance, like included in the fee. In terms of travel as in flights, they are an extra expense which you would have to cover yourself, because we can't include them because it depends on what date you want to go, what airline you want to fly with. It's a very personal choice, so that's not included in the program. And also the person who was looking for the diversity scholarship, I've sent the link there. It's under the Diverse Community Fund. And we also have a financial need-based fund. So if anyone has financial needs other than, if you're not part of the diverse community, if you just have any financial needs and the finances are a problem for you, then check that out as well. They are quite generous awards, so definitely worth looking at. Okay.
All right. Do we have any other questions? You guys asked some amazing questions, so thank you for being, into this session. I want to say, Anna and Sarah, this information session has been amazing. And so I appreciate you just giving your points of view and the information, and also just going over and above with interviewing tips. So I hope that everybody was listening and, able to kind of get something from this session, especially those who are going to watch it back. But any other questions? Would financial need help cover flight charges?
So the financial need fund is just a discount on the program, but I suppose you could look at it as in the discount would then be used to cover your flights. So kind of backwards, yes. It wouldn't be like we'll just pay for your flights. It's more of a like, this is the amount you get off, and then you can use that to cover your flights instead.
Yeah, and I'll also jump in there. So you guys joining the session in October and planning to go in June, July, or August, that gives you some time to be able to save, to be able to go. These type of opportunities are amazing. And as you heard Sarah mention, now on her resume, when she's going, she's graduated, she's looking for opportunities. And that is something that would catch my eye. If I hire people, every semester, and so I look, and if I see that you have traveled abroad, you've taken that risk, you've gotten some experience in your industry, like that is definitely worth the investment. So don't let price dollar signs scare you. Really, really take a look at what's out there for you to be able to go to the website, apply for the scholarships that they have, apply for the grants or the additional help with financial help that they have. And do some saving, right? Anything worth having is worth working for. And then it definitely, I'm sure, is going to pay off in the long run. When you look at a resume, you can see that someone's been, across the world, and you've spent some time doing legit work. That's going to pay itself forward. So, any other questions?
One thing I'd add to that as well is we have had it in the past where students have done some crowdfunding. It's another option. So, for example, Christmas is coming up, birthdays are coming up. You can ask your aunties, uncles, grandparents, or instead of giving me, I don't know, like some clothes this year, could you just put like $50 in this fund that I can use to go abroad? So that's another thing that we've had in the past. People who have done some crowdfunding and really tried to jingle some coins out of their family's pockets.
Yes. And your refund checks. If you're getting a refund check, listen, use that to good advantage, right? Like save some of that, save a piece of that, save half of that for you to be able to go and do this program in the summertime in these amazing locations. I mean, Paris, who doesn't want to go to Paris?
I know. I'm like, I want to be Emily in Paris. I want
Right?
to be that.
Who doesn't want to go to Tokyo? Who can say that they've been to Tokyo? Anyway, Sarah can say that she went to Madrid. So, take advantage, guys. If you have any questions, there was a slide that Anna had, but we will make sure that you get this link to be able to review, and then also her contact information if you have any questions on how to apply. There you go. In the chat, make sure you copy the links that she put and her email. And is the application period open?
Yep, applications have been open for some months now, actually. So as I mentioned, you wanna apply and enroll as soon as you can, so that we can secure your place.
Okay. Awesome. So apply now, guys. If you don't have any other questions, I'm going to let Anna and Sarah say last words if you have any.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone. I mean, we had some great questions. You've all been super engaged. As Danielle said, please don't hesitate. Reach out. My email's there. Make sure you copy all these links before we go off, otherwise they'll be gone. And also the code that you need for your discount. Make sure you copy all of that somewhere so you don't lose it.
All right. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to leave this up just for like, oh, the light went off in my office. Don't pay that any mind. I'm going to leave this up just for like another minute. So make sure you're getting your codes and the emails. Anna and Sarah, thank you so much for your time and joining us here in Delaware today. We appreciate you and look forward to hearing about these students who are going to apply and go and join you guys this summer. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right, guys. Have a good one. See you next time.
I'll see